Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disc Space, the
Hello.
only podcast
Hello.
where I leave the live stream on and can hear myself echo. No, I'm not going to mention it. Today, I'm Guy. Today, I am joined by Kai.
Hello. My name's Kai. Wait. No, do we say this what we do out this bit or after? This happened
Either.
before.
We say,
yeah.
we say both. We can say both.
You can do
Okay.
both.
Yeah, I'm Kai. I do Chain of Being, and I do noise music as well. I do sound design, and I love doing it. You should listen.
We also have Greg and Hannah. We're on the same screen.
Before we go any farther,
Oh, Christ.
I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Carrobis
Cancel it.
Nigregi.
Cancel it. Cut it off. Stop it.
As you
Stop
can
it
see,
now.
I'm nothing but a hopelessly average podcaster. I have some roles in audio drama and stuff, but it's not like I'm a psychic or a mutant or whatever. If I have a strong point, so to speak, it's probably my own actual play podcast that I run and edit called Ghosts on a Train. I'm completely ordinary, but still, here I am on an anything but ordinary Disc Space stream.
Sure is that. This is... Hannah, how about you?
I'm Hannah, and I don't have Danganronpa dialogue recorded. I'm also on Ghosts on a Train, and I wrote Super Suits, which is upcoming. And I am a simple lover of Danganronpa, and I'm here for that.
All right. Well, Hannah, you also picked this game. This was
I
your
did.
choice to subject all of us to this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're the reason I have carpal tunnel now.
You're gonna get it anyway. I know how much time you spend at keyboards.
That's true. That's all I do.
Fair enough. So, why Danganronpa, other
Sorry.
than you love it and
I-
you hate us, or hate me specifically?
I'm obsessed with Danganronpa. I think it is the best video game ever made. So Danganronpa, I think, is so we are today talking about Danganronpa 1 specifically, Trigger Happy Havoc, which is a game that has a lot of nostalgic value to me. I played it for the first time in 2012, like everybody else, when I was like, somewhere in high school. I was like 15 probably. It was so weird and crazy. But it also, I think, I'm kind of obsessed with things that are objectively bad in many ways, but also surprisingly good in certain ways. My favorite currently on air TV show is Riverdale. And I
That'll
feel like
do.
Danganronpa currently on air.
I know.
Only because Legends
No,
got
I'm
canceled.
just eager to hear what you're about to say.
I feel like Danganronpa fits pretty neatly into the Riverdale category of it is super over the top and stupid. Not objectively, like it is not high art. But also like there are things in Danganronpa that I think, and in Riverdale for the record, that I think many other works of fiction cannot manage to do that Danganronpa / Riverdale does pretty well. And I'm just like really fascinated by this duality of like Danganronpa is so weird and stupid and bad, but it's also kind of good in certain ways. It is captivating, and I have been unable to look away from it for 10 years. And that is why I think there's a lot to talk about, and that is why I wanted to make everyone play Danganronpa.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
fair.
So, Greg, when was the first time you played Danganronpa? Was it also 2012?
No, it was not. I was just on Tumblr at that time, and I knew that everybody was obsessed with some of the Danganronpa characters. And then it was
Tumblr had shit taste in Danganronpa characters.
Tumblr did have shit taste in Danganronpa characters. But it was so the Game Grumps started playing Danganronpa, and I had known that my dear friends Hannah Levin, who I did know, who I spent a good amount of time in while they were in their Danganronpa phase. New Danganronpa. So I watched the Game Grumps play it, and I was like, that was pretty fun and pretty wild, very over the top. And then there was like a Japanese game sale, some on Steam. It was like specifically like games from Japan. So I bought Danganronpa 1, 2, and Ultra Despair Girls, which I want to get to, and that's like happens between 1 and 2. I never actually like I didn't like play through 1 again because I just watched the Game Grumps play it, but I did play through 2. And I've already been dishonored pilled on this show. I'm very susceptible. And I was Danganronpa pilled.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Okay, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I got Hannah into Riverdale, so like
this might surprise
Yes,
you.
we've done crimes on each other.
Yeah. Listen, is that not what friendship is? But just subjecting the people that you care about to just terrible media?
Riverdale is the best show currently on TV. I will go to bat for it, and I can spend a whole separate podcast talking about why.
Listen, that does not change my statement whatsoever.
Sure, I just want to be clear.
Appropriately enough, you have given us despair with Danganronpa. There we go. There's your line. This might shock
Stream
you.
over.
But in the green room a little bit. Kai and I talked. We both did not enjoy this experience.
Would you believe I didn't like this game?
I do have trouble believing that.
Is there anything
oddly.
about me right now that would make you believe that I didn't have a good time playing this game? I bought this before I actually played the game, and now I regret it.
I mean, that's on you, buddy.
At the end of
it's
the
so
at the end of
good.
the stream, we get to vote on what happens to the costume.
Yeah, I
So-
don't.
Yes!
Stick around
Or
for that.
What I do, I need to do like I can do one thing in the costume, like a certain dance, like the whip and nene, or like you know.
I was thinking if we have anybody in chat, I'm not looking at it right now, but chat could like propose an execution to be done later.
Yeah,
I
we're
like
gonna
that.
kill Kai.
Yeah, in the costume.
We're
Yeah,
gonna for real actually kill Kai.
That's fine.
We're gonna for real actually kill Kai, which we can definitely say on YouTube. This is a joke. Please do not.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we are joking.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, we're gonna unalive Kai.
Allegedly.
Mercy.
Allegedly.
All right, so Kai, was this your
Yeah.
first experience with like Danganronpa, just other than like actually like getting your hands on it, or had you sort of like touched it before in the Tumblr days of yore?
No, I don't think that I was. I don't remember when I was on Tumblr.
You were too young, I think.
I think so. Yeah, no,
when
it
we were
definitely
in
wasn't
high school.
2012.
Yeah.
But I'd heard of it definitely, and I knew the character. And my housemate Ollie, who might be watching, I'm not sure. Is quite like obsessed with it, and has like the notification of her phone is the little fucking bear bastard saying like, oh, it's punishment time, and like just talks about it a lot. And so that was like my main thing. And then she was extremely fucking excited, and I think my girlfriend Eve is also into it as well, but I don't think talk about it as much. This was my first time playing this game. I think maybe my first visual novel as well.
Oh.
Not a fan, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't love visual novels really.
I'll
This
be
is a
honest,
rarity for me
I went
the
from
age.
playing Elden Ring and Neon White to playing this game, the very fast-paced, focus-heavy thing, to just,
Neon White.
do you know, like, you know, I just was wanting to do other things playing this game. Yeah.
Did you end up finishing?
No, I did the first one and then stopped there. I speaking to everyone I've spoken to that likes this game in my life, has actually never played the game and has only watched walkthroughs, which I find interesting because I think that's the ideal way to consume this product, is just watch. I think it should be an anime, which I think it is, but
Yeah, it's not very good.
yeah, I think
Shocker.
watch a walkthrough. I think it's, otherwise you're just clicking and it's like, oh, you get okay. I have a rant later, but I'll keep that.
We'll circle back. All right, so
This
My
fucking wig.
experience-
Sorry, it keeps going front, and I keep
just
flicking it
take the
back.
pigtails off.
No. then I've wasted £30, and then what have I done? What am I? I'm just sat here and look. Ugh. Look,
Oh!
now what am I?
That might be worse, actually.
Yeah, put him back on. Put him back on.
I wish they would go out more. Oh, that's actually better. Let's do that. Okay, sorry. Continue.
All right.
This is gonna play really well in the audio version.
Yeah, this is gonna go great.
Kai is in a Junko cosplay right now.
Yeah, just.
I mean, we're gonna be.
Can it be
tweeting
me
this
as the
picture a
thumbnail?
bunch.
Doing like that?
Probably, maybe. I don't know. I'll figure something out. That's for future me to worry about.
Yeah. I fucked up the pigtails.
So my experience with Danganronpa was that I had not actually played it before now. I watched a walkthrough with my brother in 2012. Shocker.
I see.
Yeah, it's pretty much
year.
exactly that. And did the entire game. Enjoyed that a reasonable amount. It's like, yeah, this is fun. This is fine. I don't particularly like visual novels. When it comes to games and when it comes to gameplay, I want it to be actually interactive, and the format of visual novel is kind of best suited for like a choose your own adventure book. There's only one choice that you can really make in Danganronpa, so it kind of like the idea of like you're going to be a detective and you're going to go around, you're going to search, you're going to look for clues, you're going to make discoveries, all that, like when there's like you only have the right answer or you lose and you start over is just enervating at absolute like absolute bare minimum.
Nice.
Should have turned my phone off. I've been too distracted today. But so like something like Ace Attorney, where there is a bit more sort of like back and forth, I think the visual novel style works a lot better for. But for this, it just frustrated me. I like the style. I like the stylization. I like the pop-up book aesthetic. Like as I said to Kai and Tony before we started, like make some great merchandise.
Yeah.
I do not like this game.
My favorite animation stylization was when you go into the fucking trash room and the little dumpster like waddles back into the back of the room. That's top notch. That's the best thing in this game. I love it. Yeah, that was my best moment.
Danganronpa is really very much about vibes. I'm also the sort of person that doesn't normally like visual novels. And when playing through Danganronpa, the only time I've actually done it is with Hannah here, and we were like voicing the characters. So we had like something to do during the novelty stuff. So I think that's like that's one of the more ideal ways to play it, I would say. Like make a show of it, because otherwise you are going to spend a lot of time just like reading blocks of text from different characters and stuff.
So not to cut you off, but when Greg says like a lot of time, you can look this up, and the average time to complete Danganronpa for like not for completion, just like to finish, is around 23 hours and 40 minutes.
I'm sorry, remind me how long Final Fantasy was?
Oh!
No! I was
Final Fantasy has gameplay though.
So I will say one thing. So what if we may talk about the gameplay some. So I was curious about looking this up, and also I wanted to remind myself of the different gameplay elements that happen, because there are 6 instances of proper gameplay, and they are where. So this visual novel is a tale of high school students trapped in a high school, and they have to you have to do a murder and get away with it to leave the high school, and then you do a trial to make sure when somebody dies to make sure that the murderer doesn't leave, and that's where all your detective work that guy was mentioning comes in.
It's a choose your own detective game.
It's a choose your own detective game. But I have immense respect for the gameplay of the trials. The Danganronpa. The name, if I'm not mistaken, is like something along the lines of Truth Bullet, which is like what you're, what you use. They gamify like argument In a way that there's still only like a right or a wrong answer, so it's not like it's not like that intense, but it's cool because I have immense respect for games when they will devote as much attention to like speech, and one could say deduction. I mean, Hangman sucks, but the Hangman minigame sucks, but there's other stuff as like other games do combat, and so you get like 5 or 6 instances where you have like people are discussing and debating, and rather than just reading the visual novel words, you've got to shoot highlighted words that like are places where you could disagree or could point out a contradiction with like your own words of like, oh, if somebody mentions like a fucking like, oh, he slipped on a banana peel, right? And you can like shoot it with like, no, we don't have that. There's no bananas in the kitchen. And like,
I have no issues with the trial sections.
Yeah,
I think those work very well. They're very frenetic. They have like a
I wish there was
good
more
energy.
of that, but
There was too much downtime and a lot of nonsense in between them, and it frustrated me. It bored me. I did not enjoy that part. There was too much of that. Like, this is made for a very... I think what Kai said is correct in that, like, watching a playthrough of this is probably one of the most ideal ways to play it. If you could just get to the trial section after, like, having watched everything up to that point, you probably would have about the same kind of experience, maybe even less frustration.
I think.
I mean, I do feel like Danganronpa is. I mean, it's a visual novel, which is not exactly the same thing as a video game.
No.
And you like all the like flaws you're pointing out are just kind of like how a visual novel works.
I did say up front, I don't like visual novels.
Yes, but, you know, that's a preference. That's not actually... Like, it's not that Danganronpa has too much downtime. It's that you don't want to play a video. You don't want to play a visual novel.
Correct.
It's the same way, like I don't particularly like video games. I've been on this podcast several times having played a video game and have been like, yeah, I thought that the fights were stupid and boring, or, like, the puzzles were stupid and boring. But, like...
Now I'm wearing the other
I just don't, you know, that's not the kind of game I like.
I think a key thing also, and I just needed to remind myself real quick, a key thing about Danganronpa that definitely helps the appeal, and I think would help a casual playthrough, not a disc space. You have a month until we record a thing. This was originally released for the PSP. So I could imagine that this is almost like you're doing a lot of like subway reading, you're playing through.
That's interesting.
Reading through the visual novel, you just pull it out when you have the time, and you're just like, oh, I'm reading some more of my stories, and then
having to actually like physically sit down in front of my computer and devote time to it was like, honestly, a fairly miserable experience. Being able to like pick it up, put it down would have been,
I mean,
would have changed the game.
I had no problem with the in-between parts because I enjoy the story. Like, you are doing something during that part. Yeah. You're watching a story play out. And, you know, if you want more activity than that, or you get tired clicking, that's one thing, and maybe it's not for you. But, like, I enjoy the story that is going on in Danganronpa, and so I had no issues with those parts.
Yeah. I'm sure, though, that for people that did, they might have less of an issue if it was in like more digestible parts, and they could like do it. It's like, oh, people joke about like using their Switch on the toilet. I'm just imagining like the energy of like somebody in like 2012 sitting on their toilet. Like,
it is interesting too, because the way that it got to America, or at least my circles in America first, was in the form of not Let's Plays, but in fact these like something awful forums where people just like posted the transcripts, and they had little pictures of the sprites next to just like the transcripts of Danganronpa. So it was a thing you read. I never consumed it that way. but like that was how it first took off. And so that's, I think, an interesting comparison as well, the idea of just sitting down and reading Danganronpa.
You know what's I don't want to interrupt if you want to move on to something else, Guy.
It seems like you have something.
Oh, well, just I don't know. You know, actually, no. This is too off topic. We'll talk about it later.
I kind of want to know what it is.
Talk about it later. No, I mean, I'll mention it.
Okay,
I just don't want like there's a section for it because I was thinking about like the tone of it and like inspirations.
Yeah.
Because Danganronpa actually kicked off. Danganronpa kicked off in our household. A bit of like a. I mean, we watch horror movies.
We got into horror movies over the pandemic because we had nothing else to do.
Yeah, we're like watching them together. And I had read that one of the inspirations for Danganronpa was Cube, which is one of my favorite movies. I saw it. It's 1999. I saw it when I was way too young, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, there's an image in my head that like hasn't left, but also like I really liked it. And it's about like people waking up in a strange place, and there's like traps in they're in a cube, and the cube's connected to other cubes, and there's traps in the cube. And then also apparently, I think Saw was also on there
You can
as
definitely
like
see that, yeah.
Yeah, as like inspiration.
I think was it after Danganronpa that we watched 7 Saw movies?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh
Like
my
it
God.
was like
Saw is another franchise for the record that is bad, but I am obsessed with.
yeah. It's almost like consuming Danganronpa is best viewed as watching something or reading something rather than playing it, but also also yeah, I think part of the appeal, you've said it yourself, Hannah, about I think on one of these episodes maybe or just separately, about how like there's like a little extra like brain power and like effort that goes into like playing a thing rather than just watching it. And I'm not joking when I say that I think a lot of people's endurance can be lost playing through Danganronpa when they have to wander around the school and they can't advance until they find this like one particular thing. So like its inspirations are movies and its genre is a novel. If nothing else, I think hardcore like watch Danganronpa, don't play it.
As someone who like absolutely adores point and click adventure games, it's very much that same kind of like moon logic of like, it's colloquially known as pixel hunting, where it's just like the one fucking thing that you're missing, and you have to go find it and click on every fucking thing until you do. But for the vast majority of like point and click adventure games, I know that like I can get through it because either there's like a little bit more like dialogue in between, there's like stuff that I can do, like, you know, a bad point and click adventure game when it's just like a lot of, I can't pick that up, I can't interact with that, I can't touch that, I don't need that, like over and over. Looking at you, fucking Harvester, eat my entire ass.
Yeah, eat their ass. I've never played Harvester.
It's bad. It sucks. It sucks ass. I hate it. Ugh.
Oh, we should do Grim Fandango on this one of these days.
We should. That's on my personal list, but
I mean, like, yeah, I get it. It's, you know, it's me with Senua trying to get the fucking bridge to look right for 10 minutes. But also, like, I will say, I have not come across a video game where that is not a frustration.
Yep. I don't think there is such thing as a perfect game. Like even Neon White has the Neon Yellow side quests. I will not comment.
I like it all, to be honest, but
the yellow ones are the only ones I don't like because it's just the gunplay and platforming, and it's just I hate. No, I want to go fast.
Talking about this game as opposed to the other good game that we both really enjoyed. I think didn't know exactly what it would be going into it, and so I think I didn't know it was going to be a visual novel, and so I think I had a slightly kind of like, oh fuck, I thought something was going to happen, and like the opening thing where it's just like I've forgotten the main character's name, but he just like opens and goes, I suck, I'm fucking boring as shit.
Yeah, the thing that I said.
Yeah, exactly. Like
The-
that opening thing, and it was like,
kid.
okay, yeah, this is the introduction, and then it did the fun pop-up thing, and I was like clicking, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a lot of this going between rooms and clicking on stuff, and then I don't know, the fact that it was more what's it called, more chatting, and I was like, oh, I think because I didn't know what to expect going in, so then I just thought it would be more gamey. I could definitely see the appeal. I will say it does treat you like you're a bit of an idiot in a lot of it, in that it told me 6 separate times that the fucking windows were boarded up. And it's like, yeah, they're boarded up, I fucking saw. Like, or like, I don't know, it just keep repeating things, and it was just kind of a bit like, but I think someone, I can't remember who it was that pointed out to me in my house, but like, is it meant to be in installments? They're just reminding you just in case, because it's been so long that you've played it, right? Because otherwise it's just like,
I think,
Yeah. There's. I think
that might be a holdover from the portable days.
right.
I do also
like-
think there's an aspect of like, you're right, you have to find all the things in order to advance. Like, you need to get all the clues in order to be able to do something. If they don't tell you things 6 times, it's really easy to miss a small detail and be stuck in a room for like an hour.
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. It's a very hard line to walk, and I'm sure like Greg, who has went to school for game development, like the line between like under explaining and over explaining is very thin. Like,
I'm also curious about the language barrier somewhat, because
this did have to be translated.
Yeah, this did have to be translated from Japanese, and I remember reading once from like some book written by a localizer about how Japanese as a language is a little more accepting of repetition. Like, he gave an example of like a dialogue, like, here's dialogue exchange I might localize, and it's like in Japanese, somebody might walk over to a gate commander and be like, "Commander, there's an enemy at the gate," and the commander might say, "An enemy is at the gate," and then the gate person would say, "Correct, an enemy's at the gate," and that's like doesn't sound weird in Japanese. But then he's like,
in English,
localize it, I would add some more of this.
Right.
In
it
English,
could
it
also
feels
be-
very welcome to Corneria. Welcome to Corneria.
So it could be
Welcome to Corneria.
It could be a little bit of some localizing, but also separate from that, I do think the repetition would probably be really helpful if I was only playing this when I'm taking the subway, and I gotta be like, okay, where the fuck am I? And it's like, oh, don't forget, your door locks.
I did I played Danganronpa a few times. I'm currently in the middle of playing it again with another group of friends, and we like we only play it when we all can get together, and there are like 4 of us and we're all busy. You all know how scheduling between 4 adults with jobs goes, and so we only play it like once a month. And the repetition there is in fact super helpful, because we have all not me, because I just remember a lot about Danganronpa.
You're not normal about Danganronpa.
But everyone else has basically
Hannah's
forgotten what happened every time we pick it up.
Hannah's built different.
I am
built different.
But yeah, when it comes to scheduling, anyone that's ever tried to get a D&D game going,
yeah, it's one of those.
My scalp's itchy.
I'm so sorry.
Buddy.
Oh my gosh.
I refuse to take it off though.
So, Greg, as this was kind of like, what were you expecting kind of like going into Danganronpa as like actually playing it versus seeing it?
Yeah. So, I watched it. Yeah, I watched the Game Grumps play it. Got slight insights from Hannah, but didn't spoil me. She could help it. Then actually playing it. I would say, it's like because I didn't end up having to use a walkthrough much for the others, for like the walk around deductive stuff. I didn't. Also, two is a little bit different with the gameplay, but for the trial stuff, I was immediately hit by how the controls are a little awkward. I had to like retrain. I'd like retrain my mind a little bit. And I know I was like earlier, like it's really cool. I really appreciate it, but gosh, I wish some of the repetition could have come to that gameplay, because you know, when it's like in-game hours later and in real life weeks later, and I've got to like, oh, time to shoot my truth bullets again. Oh, how do I do this? Yeah, that was something I wasn't anticipating after I yelled at I yelled at Aaron Game Grumps for it. Now I was like, oh, okay.
Sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, it was a little more awkward than I was expecting. I still have a deep well of respect for how it does make you pay attention to the like you really have to pay attention to the conversation in it. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. It was fun to do silly voices with you.
Yes,
I truly think if you away if you're even if you're not normally into visual novels. I've not played really many visual novels. I made one or two for school once. But doing the silly voices was really, it added some interactivity.
Get yourself a Danganronpa buddy.
Get yourself a Danganronpa buddy, a Danganronpa even.
Call it a suicide cult.
Yeah, I feel like playing
I could
it
say
together,
that on YouTube, sure.
I feel like playing it together too, like it was easier to engage with the mystery parts of it, because like, you know, after we put it down for the night, you would tell me like, here's what I think is gonna happen, here's who I think is good, bad, here's what I think the next murder is gonna be, here's why I think they're on a giant island. Like the having a buddy to have a conversation, it's a mystery story at its heart, and I think, you know, one of the most fun things to do with mystery stories, especially the big long running ones, is to speculate. Yeah. And the fact that you had a convenience sounding board for that speculation, I think. I mean, it was fun for me. It was fun for me as someone who knew what was going to happen, hearing you be like, I think it's this, and to either be like, ah, that's very correct, or ooh, that's way off.
It's the baseball boy. He has the least amount of merch.
Yo, okay. Can we talk about the baseball boy?
No, I refuse.
That was one of the that clue set up expectations that are only sometimes fulfilled, but it is nice. Okay, where all the characters have like a single fucking gimmick by design.
Everyone's got a talent. You need a talent to get into the very special school that got taken over by a psycho bear that made them all murder each other.
Yeah. Everybody's got, so everybody has their thing. Any one of them can die. So it's like, oh, but no matter what, they have their thing. And sometimes for the murders, you've got to you can guess who might be capable of such a murder based on if you can connect like whatever evidence is there to like the capabilities of who's around. And there's a sick scene. There's I guess not a sick scene, but a scene that makes you feel mildly cool, except for the fact that you will likely get it before Makoto Naegi gets it, which is that is actually. I'm hopping over being like, I understand gamers, but also like, don't worry, Hannah, I still like Danganronpa. I will say that one thing that does genuinely frustrate me about this is when like everything's there for me to figure out, and I've like probably figured it out, and then Makoto fucking Naegi is like, I don't understand. And you even have like, you've got a companion, Kyoko Kirigiri. She doesn't remember what her ultimate talent thing is. She's super cool, and she's always like in control of the situation. And she's always like, well, do you know what the she's your in-game sounding board that knows everything that's happening. But unlike Hannah, she doesn't even have the decency to really tell you when it makes sense that you would know. And so you end up with a lot of situations where you get some cool evidence and you feel like a cool detective, but Naegi hasn't figured it out, so you can't act on it for possibly an hour or two.
Yeah,
with the first one, you go in and the name is written on the wall. It's like, oh, we're done here. Why do I need to do anything else?
To be fair, it's
Okay,
there's a
here we go.
name
Yeah, go on.
written on a wall upside down in English.
So probably less easy
That's
for a
fair.
Japanese audience.
True.
The
yeah.
other thing
Hold on, would that still be in English? Like, was that still in English in the
I mean,
original?
they refer to the numbers, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I can't imagine how you would translate all of that.
Yeah, that's still in English.
They take like English
That does make
classes
sense.
there. Like,
Wild.
I think the other thing, it's quickly becoming clear to me that my role in this episode is to be the Danganronpa defender.
Unfortunately, yes.
And so the other thing I will say is it's kind of like being in a law trial for, I mean, obviously not really, because it's all presided over by a teddy bear and like just
You
kind of
die.
it's a
The whole
kangaroo
thing's
court.
it's very much a kangaroo court or a teddy bear,
bear
court.
court. Yeah,
But
take a bear.
also, like, you
got
can sort of figure out one clue that tells you the answer. But I do think there is still interesting stuff to do, like, how do I prove this? Which doesn't remove the frustration.
fun, yes.
You're right. You're totally right. If you figure out it's Leon because his name is written on the wall before the trial even starts, and Neigi Makoto is still being like, "Who could have done this?" It's pretty. It feels stupid.
How could that ball-shaped thing have gotten through a small area and so far away?
Fuck knows. It's probably
But-
me.
Baseball player Leon, could he have thrown it?
I mean, that's the point where you figure it out, though.
Yeah, no,
That's-
it's cool as hell.
So
But like,
the thing
that's
is,
it's asking you to substantiate your arguments.
That's,
is.
Yes, yes.
it's the same kind of problem that you have with like a lot of like other kind of whodunits, where like you figure it out and you're just like yelling at the screen of just like, it's him, it's obviously him. Duh! Like, unfortunately, like there's a lot of ways that they could have gone with it, and like I'm going to be referring to fucking Ace Attorney a lot, because I think that does this kind of exact format really well, of like, you've got the little bits and you get to see the person just break down in real time as you start like picking away their argument and like really getting through to the core of it. But it's unfortunately they're very easily comparable, because they're both visual novel styles and both about, you know, law
Solving
trials,
murders,
kind of. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Ultimately, like, Danganronpa has like a lot of style and a lot of flash, but it is also, appropriately enough, for a horror movie like metaphor and horror movie trope, it feels like you're spending a lot of time with jerks waiting for them to die.
Oh, but some of the jerks are so fun.
Yeah,
Some of the jerks are
Oh,
fun.
the characters of
I feel like that's where
Danganronpa.
Danganronpa shines.
Yes, that's where
Who's
they-
favorite
Yeah.
character? Let's go around. I'm curious.
Least favorite character.
Favorite, but do least favorite
Oh,
if you want.
Do least
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah. Don't mind me as I quickly Google.
Say that's- I've literally got it up right now.
Danganronpa 1 cast.
Who is it?
Okay, yeah, you're just
Yeah.
looking at the.
Yeah, no, you got yours.
I mean,
It just sends you a
obviously I
link.
do have mine. Least favorite's a little harder. I feel like it's a toss up between Byakuya Togami, who is just kind of rich and an asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
very much the Char.
and
Or trying to be.
Yamada, who is kind of a weird pervert.
Yep.
Yeah.
Favorite is a very easy question. That's Kyoko, who is the lady who actually solves all the mysteries.
The actual competent one is just
Yeah,
holding your
yeah.
hands the whole time.
I think she is. So there's a lot of reasons that I like Danganronpa. I think she is the main one. because I think that she occupies a very interesting role in the story. This is I'm gonna talk about the gender politics of Danganronpa a little bit because I think they are super interesting. I think they reveal a lot of cultural differences between the US and Japan.
Sure.
Because Danganronpa is definitely weird about women at times. It does some weird fan service. There are some general like, oh, you're a girl, you shouldn't do this bits. Most of which, to be fair, are it seems meant to be like the person saying them is in the wrong. But
could we just take a brief moment and just like, hey, it's pretty fucked up how they treat Chihiro?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the sort of main warning I generally give people about Danganronpa before they play it, is they do have a mystery that is centered around a big misunderstanding of like what gender is. I will say, I'm not going to defend it, but I am going to say it is extremely typical of what the views on gender were in Japan in 2008 when the game first came out in Japan. I don't think there was anything like more like above average transphobia, but it was 2008 in Japan, and average transphobia was still that was still a lot. So yeah, that's pretty fucked up. I do though think that what Danganronpa is, the thing that interests me the most about Danganronpa is sort of the roles that various characters get to play in the story. I think that it does a lot of very cool subversion there, like in particularly in regards to gender. Because what happens in Danganronpa is you start out, you're Makoto Naegi, you're this perfectly average man,
hopelessly average,
who is
Hopeless
going to this
indeed.
school, gets trapped in a murder thing. You very quickly run into a girl, Sayaka Maizuno, who you knew from middle school because you went to the same middle school, and now she's a big pop star, but she likes you because she saw you save a bird once. And she's
also like super trying to bait you. Like super trying to just like, you were the patsy. Like,
yes, but you don't know that
honest,
right away.
I didn't notice.
really? I thought it was obvious.
So she immediately is like, you're gonna solve this mystery, Naegi. I believe in you. I'm gonna be your sidekick. I'm gonna help you with anything you need. And from there is a typical narrative that I feel like pops up in these kinds of games where that is in fact what happened. You, the player character, solve the mystery. You have a plucky, cute girl by your side to do stuff for you and tell you that you're doing great. And then what happens at the end of the first chapter is Sayaka dies. She gets murdered. The trial reveals that she was, in fact, she got murdered in the process of trying to do her own murder and frame you for it. And that obviously didn't work, but we solved the murder. And I feel like from there is again, obviously that's a twist, but there is again sort of a typical progression of the narrative from there, and that's Sayaka got fridged and you either move forward jaded because you trusted the wrong person and she was a bitch, or alternatively you're really forgiving and you go on and you solve the mysteries of the school and save everyone in Sayaka's memory. And that is also in fact not what happens. What happens is you very quickly start talking to another character, Kyoko Kirigiri, who is immediately very cool and competent, and she
very
is
standoffish.
Very standoffish. Love it. She's a huge bitch.
Yeah, we love her. She's the real hero of the story. Don't at me.
Yeah, no. Kirigiri, what happens from there is Kirigiri is the protagonist of Danganronpa. She's going around the school and trying to solve the mystery. She's trying to figure out why we're all there. Nayagi, she pulls him in to like distract the bear sometimes. And sometimes he'll like go up to her and be like, be careful, Kyoko, you know, make sure you're thinking of yourself and not getting hurt. You're doing great. I believe in you. It's this like very interesting reversal where, you know, you start off the game with this cute girl being like, I'm gonna be your sidekick and solve the mystery. And then she dies, and pretty quickly you become the sidekick to the woman who is trying to solve the mystery.
Love being the cute girl.
Yes, there is one bad ending in Danganronpa. There, I don't think are bad endings in any of the other games. You know, unless you like fuck up the trial and it's like, oh, game over. The only like elaborate bad ending happens in the 5th chapter if you fuck up and you let Kirigiri die. At which point, the ending is none of the other characters, it seems, either continued trying to solve the mystery or like had the know-how to do it, and they all just live in the school forever. The plot stops. They all have babies, which is weird.
Oh shit.
Yeah. They stay there forever because Kirigiri is the one moving the plot, not you, the player character.
That's
and
cool.
so that is, for Danganronpa 1 at least, that I think is what I have always found interesting about it, is the way that it sort of turned these usual narratives on their heads. And this also came at a time in 2012 when, you know, the show, I was big into Super Hulock at that time. Supernatural and Sherlock, which did absolute fuck all with its female characters, and Doctor Who, which cleared the bare minimum about 40% of the time, depending on the writer.
40% is a very high estimate.
I started with Russell T Davies, who is good with his women. But once we got to Moffat, it went pretty down the shitter. In any case, I think one of the reasons that this game holds a lot of nostalgic value for me was because it genuinely was like one of the first pieces of media that I watched in my like adolescence that had a woman moving the plot and being important. And I'm not going to say that Danganronpa is great with its women. It's often weird with them. It's not, all its characters have like 4 personality traits maximum, so it's not like doing masterful character writing anywhere. But it was super cool to me to watch this like essentially gender flip noir detective go around and like be the important one and the competent one, especially since it wasn't set up that way.
I think I'd much rather listen to Hannah talk about this game than play it. I had more fun then just listening to you talk about it than playing it, I think. So if you
can't agree.
You just record yourself talking about it. Can we just tack on like a rant, like a full just...
I could run a Danganronpa podcast.
Now I really want to get Hannah to play Beyond Good and Evil.
No idea what that is.
That'd be interesting.
Well, you know, I started that a while ago. It was hard to track down.
You play, it's very hard to track down. You play a female journalist and you basically uncover corruption in the world. You are the person who does that. They've been trying to get a sequel off the ground for like decades now.
Yeah, it's
really good game though.
One of those games from like that early era where you wouldn't often get a female protagonist who got to like be competent.
I will say though that there was a lot of, I think the 2010s, the early 2010s was a really interesting time for women in media because it was around the time where people were like, ooh, there's a market for girl bosses. And everyone started trying to write a girl boss. And so I feel like actually some of the, and I'm not saying Beyond Good and Evil is this, I've never played it, I know nothing about it, but I feel like a lot of the worst, the female characters that I was the least interested in came from that 2010s era where they were like, we just gotta make a woman that's competent and that's it. That's all we're gonna do. And so we had like, I will return to Super Hulock. We had a lot of women who like had guns.
River
Song, Amy Pond at times, Irene Adler from Sherlock, a whole fucking mess, who like had this veneer of competence, but also never really got to move the story in any significant way. And in the end, they were there to stand up men. It sounds like this is not the case with Beyond Good and Evil. If
No,
the
it
woman
is.
the
You are
actual-
literally like trying to find like uncover a conspircy. Also
Yeah,
came out in
but,
like 2003, which I did not remember.
But,
It's
like-
way older than I thought.
I guess what I'm trying to get across here is it wasn't just that Kyoko was cool and competent,
No,
because
it
we
was-
actually had a lot of that at the time.
Yeah.
It rather was her like level of importance in the story.
Mm.
Like the plot literally could not go on without her, and I thought that was super fucking cool.
Fair enough.
Mm.
All right, Greg, who's your favorite?
And I
That
like
was the
Mondo
question.
Iwata.
Mondo was cool.
I like Mondo because
Which one's Mondo?
Okay, Cornhead.
Wait.
Mondo
Oh, yeah.
Iwata is the ultimate biker gang leader, which is a talent that you're allowed in the super special high school for.
Yeah,
I guess.
some of these
Which
talents
is
don't
so
feel like
funny.
talents.
Danganronpa is so funny.
Danganronpa is very
They'll let
funny
you in that school for fucking anything.
for fucking anything.
As long as you're
Gambler
good
is
at
one
it.
of
As
them.
long as you're the
I'm just-
best at it.
Mondo was fun. His voice lines, he like curses a lot in his voice lines. He's a real rough and tumble guy, but
He does say fuck.
He does say fuck. He is he's like the punk with a heart of gold trope. He gets to have this. He starts to really clash with like the preppy like hall monitor, like ultimate hall monitor. Isn't that what he actually is?
Yeah.
In English, at
I
least.
think
I just think it's-
it's some English actually I think translated
like-
him as ultimate moral compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumb
It's
as
so
hell.
weird. But they like he starts to clash with him, and like you'd think maybe, oh, is he gonna do a murder? But no, they have this I'll just say homoerotic competition in the sauna together, and we never see how it concludes, but it does involve nudity, and it does involve some insinuated climax, and then they come out of it and they're like, we're together, we have a deep understanding, which I think is maybe not.
I can't
like,
talk about this on air. I'm gonna
Maybe
have to
not
talk
from a
about this
graphic-
later. I've
later.
got like a thing that I just remembered. It's
Yeah.
like, oh fuck. Oh
Maybe-
no.
maybe not like as genre bending and important as Kyoko Kirigiri gets to move the plot forward, but it is interesting how even though they only have 4 traits max, each one of them has like a thing. I really like how they all bounce off of each other and they all interact in non-stereotypical ways. Like they're all stereotypes, but they all like they come together in like the weird ways that you wouldn't expect.
Danganronpa
Most
is
of them.
like weirdly
Mostly.
good at putting twists on the tropes it uses.
Hmm.
Each character is definitely a trope. They rely on tropes very heavily, but they also like do weird shit with them like that. There's also like Kyra's this all must sound like absolute fucking gibberish to you. There's like a shy kind of horny girl who turns out to have like a second personality as a serial killer. Horrible misrepresentation of how DID works, but it is very funny.
That was a lot.
Like the fucking
I forgot how weird she was at the beginning of the game.
there's a like an ultimate martial artist woman who looks like her nickname is Ogre because that's
they-
kind of what she
They
looks
drew
like.
her to look like a protagonist from Berserk.
I was
Yes.
thinking she looked very out of place.
Yes. She
She's
is,
my favorite.
she is like really kind and gentle in
No,
a way that
she's a total sweetheart.
yeah, in a way that you wouldn't expect. Like Danganronpa is the second game has this like my favorite character from the second game is this like blonde, very prim looking, like her talent is being a princess. She's like a princess from Europe. And as the game goes on, she just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. Like it starts out with like chapter 2 reveals that she's got a like a thing about serial killers. Like she's really into reading about serial killers.
Honestly,
then,
with all of like the true crime media right now, that's that was that's not that weird anymore.
Not anymore. But then she like this one dude is like big like, ooh, I'm kind of a cult and I like talking about blood rituals, and she'd like, I'd love to do a blood ritual.
Is that the hamster guy?
Yeah.
Hamster guy, yes. Like they're just really good with subverting things, and I think that's fun.
I also like Mondo Iwata because it gave me an opportunity to maybe not fully parry, but riposte against the damage of introducing me to Danganronpa by revealing to Hannah that Danganronpa is full of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure references.
Yeah, that's
Mondo Iwata. He's got
that's
hair
a
like
counter.
yeah, he's got hair like the protagonist of Part 4 of JoJo, Josuke. His gang is like the Crazy Diamonds, which is the stand from it. There's like plenty of items and jokes. There's like, I think like somebody gets aura'd at one point. Like,
I'm legitimately curious if that was like a localization thing or if that was in the original. if it was just like a localizer who really like JoJo or not.
I'm sure maybe it helped, but also like there's no denying the arrowhead that gives you mysterious powers and the stone mask or whatever. Like those are JoJo references.
Cross
yeah,
counter.
I hate that, of course. But
Kai, did you have a favorite character?
I like Celeste's ultimate drip, if you ask me.
Oh yeah,
Oh
she's
my
a
God.
Just
she's
fucking
a bitch.
dressed best.
She's also
She's a bitch, and I like her so much.
I just like the way she talks and looks, and I think least favorite character is the fucking swimming one, because again, like, just kind of nothing interesting to me. Maybe because I didn't get that
You
far.
should have played to the later games. She gets actually a lot to do.
Should I have?
Well, I mean, not if you don't like it, but
yeah.
Actually, the fact that you mentioned Celeste, would we have crossed into a place where it might be all right to discuss spoilers, even though we're
Let's
I
discuss
already
spoilers.
spoiled it.
We spoiled the whole game.
Yeah. So I think so a thing we've talked a lot about: watch Danganronpa, look at Danganronpa, you don't play Danganronpa. And the Saw inspirations come through in that whenever you catch the murderer, they are then executed in a special, elaborate execution that's like either like playing on their talents as a sort of ironic thing, or just otherwise like ridiculous. And I think Celeste's execution is my fucking favorite in the whole game.
Yeah, Celeste does a murder.
She does a murder.
She does murder.
She does a murder. She's great at it.
I mean, not really.
No, hey, listen. She would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for head trauma. If it wasn't for Ifumi's head trauma, unlocking his fucking
maybe.
That was pivotal. She would have gotten away with it too.
I feel like failing to do your murder is a pretty big mistake for a murderer to make. Oh, you know, you go on.
Oh god, I forgot.
Okay, every mistake of murder, they're all bad at murder.
Please continue, Greg. Please.
Celeste was really good at it, I think. And so they do this really dramatic thing. She's Celestia V. Ludenberg. She dresses all fancy. She goes by a Western name, even though on her birth certificate she's Japanese. At first it looks like she's going to be burned like at the stake like a witch, and there's like she gets like a really dramatic moment where she like looks up at the sky as the pyre is getting lit, and then suddenly there's fucking fire sirens happening, and a big fire truck driven by the fucking teddy bear comes over and just fucking wrecks her shit, just slams right into her.
That'll do it.
Okay. The executions are they look really fun. There's a good amount of catharsis to it if you have been dealing with like a lot of like coarse shit in the gameplay. If you're I'm tired of all the repetition, well guess what, you get to see You get to see this woman get wrecked by a fire truck.
Mhm.
So this is finally the part of the horror movie where you do get to see the jerks get killed.
Yeah.
There's
Shout out
also
to Freddy vs. Jason.
like I saw someone mention in the chat the execution in the 5th trial, which the 5th trial is entirely a farce. Kyoko Kirigiri is getting
I have something to talk about for this one, but continue, please.
Kyoko Kirigiri is getting too good at solving the murder mysteries. And so the mastermind of the whole thing like sets up what's essentially a fake murder to frame her for the that she's framed for in hopes that they could be like, yep, she did it, we're gonna execute her now, even though she's obviously gonna be like, I didn't do it. And what ends up happening is if you that's where you can get the bad end.
That's
because
the one choice.
there is a choice where you can present evidence that would result in her getting framed, or you can tell a little white lie that would make it seem like she couldn't have done the murder. In which case, people very quickly conclude that you did the murder. And what happens is either you go through the execution, at which point the execution fucks up and saves you, which in a very cool way relies on Naegi's stupid little talent, which is being the lucky student because he got picked in a random draw to go to this school. And then if Kirigiri goes through the same execution, it works perfectly and she dies. But yeah, so which is a very cool aspect of that execution. And I think the other cool thing is it's a crazy generic execution. It's just like you're sitting on a conveyor belt and you get crushed by a hydraulic press. There's no like weird little irony to it.
You're sitting at a high school desk.
Yeah.
All. There's like other high school desks, and it's like they all have names, and I think it's called like detention or like it's like some school pun.
It's generic as hell, and it's this like really interesting like hint that there's something not right with this trial, because all of the other executions have been crazy elaborate and crazy tailored to the specific person that's getting executed, and this one is so clearly like thrown together on a lark. So it's interesting. They have these really cool executions that are really well thought out, and they do kind of become a plot point in their own right in a very interesting way.
All right, now I get to talk about this. So, firstly, full spoilers: the mastermind is Junko, the character Kai is dressed as.
Can I do a quick twirl? Because I'm actually wearing the skirt, but
go for it.
Please do. Oh my god!
I'm wearing headphones, so I can't turn around fully. But
you're doing great, bud.
Oh, this is that was beautiful. Hannah just switched to the YouTube stream, so we could see that twice.
Yeah.
Hate to see him leave, love to watch him go.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
Guy,
supposed
why
to
don't
get
you
closer.
talk?
I don't have anything to say.
Oh no, Guy!
Guy! I said Guy for the record. I asked Guy to talk.
No,
not
sorry.
You. And then he proceeded to die.
Well then, how's the
Wow,
stream?
now Greg and I get.
I'm the guy now.
I'm still in the same place.
All right. Do you want to say something as Guy that would make them mad?
Trying to think.
Something about Neon White.
I haven't played Neon White.
Say that you hate it.
Yeah, I don't like Neon White. Yeah. Have you? I'm trying.
Anything?
Swap places. Hannah, you do one.
I'm Guy, and I love horses.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think horses are the best animals
Horses
in the
are
world.
great.
Okay,
Oh no,
Guy's
we're not
back.
Guy
I'm back.
anymore.
Well, it's swap places though. Yeah, it's still fucked up.
Yes. Now I'm Greg and Hannah.
Wait, no, has it? That's fine. Keep going.
It's whatever. All right. I completely lost my train of thought as to what I was going to do.
Fifth trial, you had something to say.
Yes. Okay. Firstly, I had a realization like as I was playing through this game, and it frustrated me to no end and gave me no peace. And now I must make you all suffer with me. In that this is anime Lord of the Flies.
I mean, it's anime any death battle. That's a very common trope.
Specifically, like, taking a bunch of kids, throwing them together in isolation, then watching them eat each other alive.
Yeah, that's
Except
also
here's the
Battle
thing.
Royale and the Hunger Games. And, like...
Here's the thing, and this is the part that we're just it amuses me as someone who really likes philosophy. So again, it was Junko. She wants to cause despair. She basically wants everyone to suffer. She doesn't actually have faith in them enough that they will go through with it. She has to give them motive, and like even then she has to keep like giving them reasons and additional like suffering until it gets to the fifth trial where like basically everyone kind of like ends up at peace, and like as shown in the bad ending, they're kind of just like they'll just go on totally fine afterwards. Like it's whatever. So like her plan basically at the end of the day doesn't work because she doesn't really get
in a sense though, she does kind of break them all down. Like
Yeah.
the ultimate despair. The ultimate despair isn't necessarily death, I suppose. I think the ultimate despair is it not worse than death than to give up?
Yeah. I think the bad end is super chilling personally. Like I think the idea that they accept that the entire world is this school that they're trapped in is honestly freakier than any of the murders. I think that's like a huge victory for her. I do see your point about the motives though. I think that is a good point. She doesn't, trust that people are going to murder just to get out of the school. She does offer other
she has to keep offering like incentives and motives of just like she basically needs to like keep pushing their buttons to get them to actually like go through with it.
Well,
which shows just like
I don't know that she's necessarily pushing a philosophy so much as trying to make them miserable.
I mean, she's trying to make them miserable, but that in itself is its own kind of like nihilistic, like it's an ethos. It's not a correct one, but
she's not saying like, oh, there's darkness in the heart of man that will make them kill if just left alone. She's saying the best state you can be in is miserable and full of hate, and I'm trying to make you miserable and full of hate.
That's kind of a philosophy, though.
That is kind of a philosophy, but it's not one that is contradicted, I think, by fucking with them.
No, but it's at the end of the day, like the fact that she needs to like fuck with them shows that it just kind of shows how little faith that she has in like her own plan. Like she had to.
Well, her plan is to fuck with them.
Her plan is to fuck with them.
I guess also though she does specifically want to see these bright scions of hope at Hope's Peak Academy killing each other and falling into despair. Yeah, I guess it could undercut a little bit, I suppose. The fact that in order to, it's like, oh, you can't be like, all it took was a need to escape. Like they're already incentivized by like the need to escape, but then she has to go further every time. She has to keep going back to the well. I don't know if it like fully undercuts it. Yeah, I don't know if it undercuts her like main thing of despair, but it does undercut like what she's trying to do. Like in a way, it shows like despair is like her despair thing is just, I'm going to make everybody miserable. Everybody should be miserable. Somehow I've managed to make everybody miserable. Except for this high school, which is the most important high school ever. They're anti-despair, they're hope. And if the goal was to show how easily they fall into despair, she failed there because it's like not at all easy. to make these kids
well,
fall into despair.
It's not, but the whole
It's
point
not
is like
hard.
it's not hard, but at the same point, like she kind of the despair is often kind of like the absence of hope, the antithesis of hope, which is like why the bad end kind of works so well, I think. Which is also why like at the end ultimately she's defeated because like she gets found out. Like she wasn't expecting them people to like hold on to the hope to actually like get out and solve everything.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's her. That's her ultimate downfall. Is that
Mhm.
Kirigiri wanted to solve the mystery, and Nayagi was able to keep everyone's spirits up.
Oh, that is such a. This is kind of a nice gameplay moment at the end there, huh? Where you
You got there.
Yeah, right. I'm remembering that correctly. We gotta hope everybody.
Yeah.
Kai didn't get to this, but there's like a class trial at the end, and what you've got to do is like instead of like murder contradictions, you've got to shoot the contradictions of like them believing themselves. You've got to like you'll have
Gotta
characters
be the hype
being
man.
like, yeah, you got to like fucking no, you're good. We're gonna make it. it's oh.
It's very sweet.
Very, very corny, very power of friendship, but we did it through our words, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat to me.
That part is good. Kai,
Mm.
is there any moment that stuck out to you?
I think I mentioned before with the little bin waddling in the trash room. I kept leaving and going back just to watch that fucking animation. A really good time. I just really enjoyed that. What stuck out to me? Yeah, but I mean, yeah, because bless you. Just because like it didn't obviously get to go through it a lot. Just I don't know why I mean I guess just as a genre couldn't get into it. So like, but doing that, the final thing, like the actual trial gameplay was very, very fun of like shooting the things and kind of that was the most engaged I felt playing this game. And so I think that as a moment just stuck with me because the rest of it was just very like for me like okay, you know what I mean, just like spamming click to try and get past this conversation and sort of I don't know, it just didn't. And then I had my roommate Ollie just telling me like, yeah, this conversation doesn't matter. So I just would keep going like, yeah, okay, you need to listen to this one, and I'd sit and go, okay, sick. And then yeah, I think as well, maybe the again, it's just because I mean, maybe there's no point saying it just because it is like a genre thing and it's just for me. But like the fact that you have to like right click to go to look at the purple things. I don't remember what it is. Like, it's not contradictions. It's like, what is it?
I think that those are your truthful.
No.
Those are the it's like the extra details or something.
Yeah, they
like,
get rid of that mechanic in the second game. It's not
I was gonna say thank Christ, because like that is just so. And then you don't continue the conversation from that point. You have to go from the fucking beginning again, and they're not optional. So it's like just say it as part of it. You know what I mean? Just include that. So that's kind of stuck with me a little bit, but you know, the actual like gameplay bit at the end was fun. If there was an abridged version of this game that cut out a lot of the stuff, like if there was a mod that did that, I probably would maybe finish it. If I had my like housemate and girlfriend to like keep me entertained as we talked about this game.
Get yourself a Danganronpa, buddy.
Danganronpa.
I think it is weird to play on your own. And then yeah, that was it for me.
For me, it's just like I wish it kind of had committed more in like one way or the other. Either like doing like just visual novel, because like the little interactivity bits, and just like either make it like a dating sim or make it an investigation. It feels like it feels like it tries to do both things, and it doesn't really. There's not enough of one, and the other bit is irritating. Admittedly, as someone who is not a fan of the genre, so it might just be that like this is not made for me. But that's totally fine. Not every game is for everybody.
Are you saying you didn't have fun as a detective when you made a comic?
No.
You know,
That
you
was
don't
quite
love,
fun,
you
actually.
don't love, you
That was
don't love
sick.
how you make a comic at the end of
Your
every
little panel
case.
tokens you drop in. I fucked up so much on that. I felt like an idiot.
Yeah,
I felt
They-
so
no.
stupid.
That is another thing that they kind of improve in the second one a bit, where they try
Yeah.
to make the panels they have choices of
It's
more
really
clear.
it's really funny. The second one like goes through and it makes like 5 or 6 of the mechanics notably better, and
Mm.
then it makes one way worse.
Which one? Which one?
The fucking Hangman.
No, okay. I will say this about Hangman. Okay, so sometimes Makoto Naegi needs to think of something, not from anything that is his
Columbo, he
peers have
ain't.
said. Yeah, he's got to think of something, but not from anything anybody else said. So obviously you can't shoot truth bullets at Naegi's thoughts. We got to represent this differently. How do we do it? We represent it by Hangman. And there's letters that pop up, and you shoot the letters to spell the word. Yeah, in the first one, it's Hangman's very easy. It's very easy. Like only they show you like 1 or 2 letters at a time, and it's pretty obvious which one is like necessary. In the second one, they were like, so they must have hired somebody who like made fucking Puyo Tetris or some shit. It's like this full on like, not like a super duper in-depth puzzle game, but it's like this weird full on puzzle game that's like, it's really, really frantic, and it really pops your you don't have like a health bar in these games. You've got like a not a reputation.
A logic thing.
No, it's how much people will listen to you. Your meter is how credible you are, your credibility.
How many times do you fuck up your argument?
Yeah. And like
a lot, apparently, in my case.
yeah. Let me tell you, that wouldn't shoot up your credibility. What was an easy win instantly becomes a hard one.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this wig.
I'm
Maybe
glad
It
that
worked
you
a
guys
little
completed
bit ago,
it.
which was really funny.
Unless everybody voted to burn it.
Yeah, otherwise that's gonna be tragic. But
Oh,
I
but
mean-
that's his Danganronpa, isn't
That's
it?
despair, baby.
That's just despair.
But you can record it being burned.
that's true. That's true.
You could make a sick beat at
And
I
then
guess.
afterwards, we'll spend another 20 minutes talking about how important
How
the costume
important is
was.
the wig was?
God.
Oh yeah, that's true.
On the one hand, I do like that because it is nice to like really reflect on the importance of a human life here in Danganronpa, but also your Danganronpa.
Also,
So,
you're
like,
Danganronpa, and again, like, it feels like I'm just stuck with the jerks who are waiting to die.
Well, I'm sorry you guys didn't like it. I didn't actually pick this game as a prank on you. I like unironically enjoyed Danganronpa, and I was not expecting it to be miserable for you. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
It's the way the
Nice.
cookie crumbles. Sometimes you
Nah.
get the people that like to go fast playing the visual novel, which is just
Mhm.
an
Yeah.
exercise in misery.
Yeah, the person that fucking played the Titanfall Gauntlet like 70 times in a row.
That's true.
Having
you,
to
like,
listen
you
to
were
a
like Resident
conversation.
Evil 4 is really slow, guys. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I mean, listen, if you made me play
Yeah.
Elden Ring, I would kill myself.
If you made you,
So
yeah,
we have a case of differing tastes
Yeah.
here, I think.
I will
not
say
every
I don't
game
think,
is for everybody.
I
it'd be
don't
like
think
that
ingesting
sometimes.
any kind of media is bad. I think that there's something to gain from watching or playing or listening to anything, even if it's shit. It's why I have seen Sex and the City 2 6 times before.
6 times.
That's wild.
It's an awful film, but I can't look away. And so like I
Just
don't
two.
think this isn't as bad. Like this is, I can see why somebody would like this. I cannot fathom why anybody would like Overlord. Like Overlord is still at the bottom of the list. This is like I can just tell it's not for me. Overlord could have been for me.
The
I
wild
fucking hate that
thing-
game.
The wildest part about Overlord is nobody except for me got to the actual plot of that game. Which
At
is
least the
Which is
plot
insane
starts
that
when the
so
game
far.
starts in this one.
Say what you will about Danganronpa, how long it is,
You know what?
how much stuff there is. Very immediately, we're like, we're high schoolers trapped in a high school. We're murdering each
God.
other. We don't remember how we got here.
Yep.
And that's it. We got to figure that shit out.
You know, I think all I need to do is, if I'm not enjoying a game, just remember how I felt playing Overlord, and then I could just immediately, like, thinking about it now, this game's actually pretty good.
Amazing.
You know, characters are good, dialogue's interesting. Yeah. No, to be honest, like, if I liked visual novels, I think I'd have really enjoyed this game. Maybe I'll watch a walkthrough, or I'll just get my roommate to explain it to me.
Honestly, I have entertained many a person by just explaining the plot of Danganronpa. I think it's one of those things that is, if you don't like, if you don't want to play Danganronpa, just ask someone to summarize Danganronpa for you.
So,
Yeah.
I also hear there was a stage play at one point, and like
There was.
that actually sounds like a lot of fun. Admittedly,
Okay. Here is I
Already dressed for it.
clicked around on the stage play, and maybe this is not a deal breaker for you, but I did specifically mention the executions. I very much like how creative they are. In the stage play, they cannot afford to do the over-the-top customized.
are you telling me that they
executions.
don't actually kill all of the actors on
I
stage?
know.
Disappointed.
We're on YouTube.
They don't actually unalive the actors on stage. They don't. Yeah, no, they don't construct a big. They don't construct something to fake, like a pitching machine fucking pelting Leon the baseball boy to death. Everybody just gets
Baseball boy.
stabbed by 2 spears. From what I saw, I was like, oh, there's Leon getting stabbed by 2 spears. Oh, there's Celeste getting stabbed by 2 spears, and it's. I'm sure as a stage effect, spears that jut out from the stage are technically like not easy, but like for me at least, a key part of Danganronpa is that catharsis of the really, really silly, over the top execution, and that was something that was lacking in a different medium.
Fair enough. All right, Hannah. Was there anything that you got out of Danganronpa this time that you had not before? Like a new insight, perhaps?
So I think this playthrough was I think the genuine. So that I joked on Twitter that I have had that speech about gender politics and Danganronpa prep since I was 15, but I didn't actually have the whole speech prepped. It was interesting for me to play it again as an adult and really like think about exactly what it was that I liked about the game. I absolutely, like, as a 15-year-old, simply did not have the media literacy to be like, these are the usual tropes of the story, and this is how Danganronpa subverts them. And so, like, I just knew that I liked the game, and I did, like, at that point, I was like, oh, Kirigiri is a badass, and I've never seen a woman move the plot this much. But I did not. This is the first time I think I have really sat down to analyze why exactly I like Danganronpa, and that has been a very interesting experience for me. So I think, this was, I have appreciated sort of the opportunity to collect my thoughts on something that I enjoyed in my childhood and talk about them.
Nice.
Right on. All right. This seems like a good place to wrap up and then take questions from the audience. That's you watching right now. But first, Kai, are you actually going to do a playthrough with your housemates or watch a walkthrough? Like, are you going to finish the game?
I did immediately delete the game out of frustration because I was so bored. But I will probably re-download it and maybe continue. And just like have a guide. I've heard Ultra Despair Girls is really good and has no issues, so maybe I'll go play that.
I really want to play it.
I've never actually played that one.
Because here's the thing, Kai. It is an action game.
Oh no, my roommate told me it's very, very bad and has a lot of problematic shit going on with it.
That's exciting. I can't wait for that, actually. I didn't know it was shit.
Yeah, the question is whether it's fun bad.
There's a thing in it apparently that I can't talk about because of we've been careful because we're on YouTube. It's so bad that I can't mention it. but it's like
Wow.
it's
I have no idea
genuinely
what they're
quite
talking
like, oh my god, how could no? It's like, yeah. It's to do with the character's backstory. They're all abused by adults, and the female character is abused in a way that is, you know how anime is about that, and her everybody else gets a mech to fight in, but not her. She has a tickle machine that has to basically you have to bat away the hands, otherwise you
Holy shit.
bust
Okay,
know.
yeah, nope, I hear you.
No,
Holy
thank
shit.
you.
So I
Stop
was
it.
joking. Don't play this game.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
Yeah, there's a
I kind of do want to play the game though.
Yeah, we should
I
get
think that might have inspired Greg a little bit more.
No. I not for
We'll
that.
power through it.
yeah. So that's the so I probably will play this.
Komaida's in
But
Yeah, Komaida is in it. I
Yeah.
think we should do the second game because I want to talk about Komaida. I want
Next
to talk
time.
about the cultural influence that is Komaida.
Next time we
Cultural
circle
impact
around
of
your choice.
Agito Komaida.
I won't play the game, but I'll sit here in the costume.
I don't want you to play the game necessarily, but I do think you should do a Komaida cosplay for
Okay,
us.
let me look up.
Oh God. All right.
How do you spell that? This is great listening.
Komaeda.
All right. Hannah, is there any Danganronpa media that you have not consumed?
I haven't consumed Ultra Despair Girls. I think that's it. And I do want to.
All right. Greg, I'm assuming that you will be hands on the controller for that one, so I kind of know how
Yeah.
that was going to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
fuck yeah, I'll cosplay this person.
yeah. Komaida is a lot.
Komaida's wild.
One of the characters of all time.
Oh boy.
There is I've played the second Danganronpa, and there is a third Danganronpa game that Hannah has explained to me multiple times. I've gotten a good amount of why it's very bad.
I don't think anyone should play
It's
the
like
third
not
Danganronpa
actually
game.
like not.
I have consumed it. It's not good.
There's like one twist that I guess is like impressive as far as twists go, but it sucks actually. That like I was like, oh, that's interesting, but actually. And then there's an anime that Hannah had half a cider and then explained to me for an hour that does actually finish up the arc of the first two games, because the third game, in addition to sucking, is unrelated to the first two games.
That's hilarious, actually. All right. In that case, is there any other visual novels that you might want to look into?
I still need to finish Umineko. I also do want to at some point play Ace Attorney. The thing that appeals to me about Umineko is once again about women, and it's that there's a lady and she's batshit insane, and I love her. And I do also want to play Ace Attorney because it's like the good mystery solving game. And I simply have never gotten there. Also, I write a show about lawyers, and our lead voice actor is big into Ace Attorney animation, and our entire writers room is constantly cracking Ace Attorney references, and I don't understand them.
I mean, like, it's a visual novel, so like it's very much in the same vein, so you're probably going to actually enjoy it. You will also like fuck, what's his name? The prosecutor.
Edgeworth?
Yeah, he's a bastard. You're gonna love him.
I do love bastards. I am known for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm probably not going to finish Danganronpa. I might watch a playthrough of the second one because I never actually experienced that one or anything.
That one's
So-
fun. I enjoyed that experience, but again,
There's
you know,
also like apparently like additional content for the first one. There's like there's something that I did not
There's a dating
experience about it.
sim mode.
I'm going nowhere near that. That sounds like exactly the opposite of a thing that I would like as
can,
an
like, kinda
asexual
do-
man who
you
does
can,
not like visual novels.
Well, no one ever really fucks. You get to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
Boring.
But I also don't like these people.
Well, then, yeah, don't.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some questions from chat. Do we got any questions?
I saw a couple.
I did see a couple.
Oh, there's a question. Let's see. At Hannah, do you have any big thoughts on Junko's sister?
Ooh, she's fun. Yeah, so Junko's sister, for those not super up on Danganronpa, one of the many twists is, so Junko, quote unquote, is one of the students, that we meet at the beginning of the game. She is very quickly killed off by the mastermind. They just spear her through. So you're like, oh,
I love how they kind of highlight that, like, it's a very brief thing where they mention just like, hey, you look different. You're not how I expected you to look. And she's got like freckles and stuff. It's like, oh, that's Photoshop. But it's like, no, it's not.
Yes. She is, it is eventually revealed that the woman who was killed was a woman. They're all like 16. I'm sorry. It's Danganronpa. The person who was killed was not actually Junko, but in fact Junko's twin sister, Mukuro, who is a cool. Her talent.
She's apparently like an insurgent.
Her talent is assassin. And she worked as a mercenary for a while. Christ. And Junko gets her in on her scheme, and she's like, hey sis, you're gonna be my woman on the inside, and then she just fucking kills her.
Watch Full Metal Panic.
Yes. So I wish that we got to know more about Mukuro. That is my big thought. There is some content with her sprinkled in through other parts of the franchise. I think she pops up in
supposedly she's the protagonist of the DLC for the first one. That's the only thing that I know about it.
Danganronpa 0 is primarily about Junko, but I do think Mukuro is there. And it's also not technically about Junko. There's a lot going on. And then Mukuro also shows up in a prequel anime. But we never do get to see too much of her. We don't really get to know what was going on in Mukuro's head through most of this, and I really wish we did, because I think the bare bones that we do know about her is really fucking cool. She's an assassin, and she's been very manipulated by her sister into doing all this fucked up shit that eventually kills her. And I think there's a lot of really meaty tragedy to her. And I am just in general in fiction super fascinated by fucked up codependent relationships, and that's clearly what she and Junko had. And so my thoughts on Mukuro for the most part is I wish there was more content of her in canon. I don't think they would have handled it well necessarily, but I think the bare bones of her is really fucking cool, and I wish we got to see more.
I mean, the bit where she does get killed, that kind of moment leading up to it, you can tell there's a lot of enmity coming from that, which would coming in after already having a kind of a cursory knowledge of the plot and knowing her deal. It was very personal. Hey, what's going on? This is fucked up. Stop it! Directly to the bear, which she knows that she was controlling. So
she also she looks so surprised when she gets speared through. She is clearly not expecting it, and it's oh, there's the nuggets are so good.
Junko remarks on that in particular later when this is all found out. She's like, oh my god, yeah, that wasn't part of the plan, but I'm so jealous of her. Did you see the despair on her face?
All right, let's see. Do you recommend watching the third game instead of playing it?
Oh god, why'd my phone start talking?
Backwards.
No, I do not. Here's what I think the problem with the third game is not the gameplay. The problem is that it's bad. The plot is bad. I find the characters less interesting personally. It's just not very good. So however, it is Danganronpa typical wild, and so I think you should read a Wikipedia summary of the third game.
TV tropes.
I think that is what will get you. You can look at it and you can be like, "That's wild," and you can know what happens, and you can know the big twists, and you can kind of be in on the discourse, but you don't have to sit there and watch it because it's not good.
Fair enough. Okay, this one's maybe more for like Kai, Greg, and I. If you were to add a mechanic into the game to make the investigation more fun, what would you add?
I would love it if we could make connections between evidence like during gameplay. If there was, I think that'd be a thing. Like the Batman Telltale game would go into like investigation mode sometimes, and you'd like be looking at like a crime scene, and you're like Batman, and you'd have to connect bits of evidence that you see. And if you connected the right bit of evidence, Batman would be like, yeah, of course, this happened and this happened, and you could it would build. So I think with my main problem with the investigation being that it's also concentrated in the trial. Like you can feel that the story is like you're not really allowed to figure things out until we get to the trial. It would be nice if I could actually figure things out before the trial somewhat.
I would agree with that.
That says Leon.
Yeah, I would second that.
The Leon one, it's okay. We will shit on that. People always joke about that, but also like it's the first case.
It is. Yes.
It's a gimme.
It's a tutorial.
They do gotta softball you for that one, but
nice.
I also have to agree. So, what I think that they should do, because like a lot of sort of like what is mentioned is like you need to have the stuff kind of like going into the trial and what have you. Honestly, like doing a kind of like more back and forth, like when you have the clues, like actually like assemble everything and kind of literally build your case. Basically, I'm asking for like this to be Ace Attorney.
So if you like back and forth, I've got some good news for you about the second game. The second game added a new mini game where sometimes other people will tell you, no, that's wrong. And then you've got to do this weird, like, instead of a gun, you've got like a sword, and you've got to like cut their arguments, and you've got to like also pick the right, like, you got to pick the right argument to cut with your thing, and then like you've got to like
cut the right thing with the right
thing with the right blade to cut it with, and that's not properly what you're asking for.
It is cool,
but it does have the effect of feeling a little more like you're arguing a case rather than just like point and clicking like, oh no, that's wrong.
But I would like more interactivity outside of just the trials, like something to do with that would be nice.
Yeah, I think the investigations themselves, like it does take a while or at least in sort of for me with my sort of goblin gamer brain for the actual first murder to happen, and so I was just kind of like waiting for something to start, and so I think had it not been so like the actual like when you're actually doing something, like, you know, in what I would consider doing something, you know, out of like in a video gamey sense, like I really like I could see that if it was mostly that, I think it would have been like fine for me. I don't think they needed to change anything about the investigations or the final. I don't even know what the word for it. I can't remember what they call it, but the final bit of the investigation. The what? Sorry?
Class trial or no?
Yes, that's it. The class trial was also very fun, but I think just a lot of the stuff of just like I don't even know what, like not filler, but just like stuff that I felt didn't matter. But again, it really just does. Yeah. I guess that to me just does boil down to like it's just not for me. So it doesn't like it's kind of just not really. I guess yeah. So like nothing about the gameplay inherently is wrong. I just would have liked more of it as opposed to kind of chatting with people. Whereas I don't know. Yeah, I think we are going to do a Neon White episode, so I'll save my thoughts. But
Yeah, we'll get there. Not to worry.
yeah,
Because we're gonna do that episode basically of just like we're a bunch of people that have been playing that anyway. It's been fun. But
who else would it be besides me and you? Who else
I
has
will
been
let
playing?
you know because we've got actually 2 special
Ooh.
guests. So
Fuck yeah, wicked. Cool.
it's gonna be fun. But
Stay tuned.
I've mentioned that I like sort of the point and click adventure games, and one of the things that I like that is sort of like that continual sense of progression. And it feels like for a lot of Danganronpa, like a lot of that is kind of top-ended for the trials of like, this is kind of like the point where you progress. It doesn't feel like you're making a lot of advances as you're sort of like going through and like putting stuff together. So like maybe like just a little something like it maybe this kind of like adds on to Greg's point of like figuring things out like outside of the trials of like you find this one clue and it's like that's on its own. You find this other clue, and then like maybe Nagi like sort of mentions like, oh, I can see how these link together, and like you figure that like outside.
That
it's
is
a little
traditional adventure game thing where you go into your inventory and you'd be like, oh, what if I use this on this, and then it's like it combines to a new item.
Yeah, it's a
kind of like the we're playing Wolf Among Us right now, and that's kind of what the
Wolf Among Us is an adventure game, so
part of that is like.
Yeah. We finished episode 1 of Wolf Among Us, and Hannah was like, how many more episodes are there? And I was like, oh, there's 5. There's 5 episodes. And then Hannah was like, oh, this is kind of a Danganronpa, huh? And I was like, funny you should mention that.
Also, I guess mild spoilers from Wolf Among Us. When I finished the first one, I was like, oh, they kill off the female lead at the very beginning, at the very end of the last chapter. This is completely a Danganronpa, but then it turned out they didn't.
I have one more good thing to say as well. The music during the class trials is fun as fuck. That's good shit. The rest of the music is like but like during that thing it's just good shit. Good shit. I've got hair in my nose. Oh, it's caught on my fucking nose ring.
The class trials are just so like we all keep coming back, like we can all agree the class trials rock. They're this amazing intersection, like this is what the game was probably sold on. Like it's this amazing intersection of like the deduction, the mystery, like the story comes through, the characters, and you're like doing your fucking your trigger Happy Havoc, you're shooting bullets. It's so cool. And it's like
sorry go on.
No, just it's so good. And it comes into that big climax of the execution, and gosh, if you can make it to a class trial, I think, and like still be ready for more, I think you could really, really enjoy Danganronpa. But gosh, it takes a while for the first murder to happen. Then it takes a while for the investigation to get to the class trial. And
I have one other thing that I would I think I would like to see. Chapter select.
Interesting.
I think it might eventually have that.
No, I don't think it does.
It doesn't.
Just like
the second one might. I don't remember
it.
I think that would be like a great benefit of just like I don't need the tutorial of like introducing these characters who are going to die. Like sometimes it's just like I get it. They're high schoolers. They're stuck. I get to the murder. Let's go.
Understand. It's the ultimate fanfic writer. He writes fanfic
Sick.
at an ultimate level.
I hate that weird pervert so much.
He sucked.
He's the Mineta of the...
Among this is I guess spoilers for Danganronpa 2 a little bit. I think among the best improvements in Danganronpa 2 is they have a weird pervert, but they kill him off.
They immediately kill him.
That's good. We've not talked much about the bear. Do we have like that's not really come up a lot? But like
it's very merchandisable.
Yeah,
Monokuma looks great on shirts, make great plushies, great like tokens, etc. Like Monokuma made someone like so much fucking money.
My
Yep.
favorite interaction is when you're like with the first person that gets murdered. I'm sorry, I don't know character names.
Oh,
And
God.
he just comes in and goes, "Ha, you got a boner," and then fucks off.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
fucking excellent.
Is it the best part is knowing these remote control by Junko is just like literally just coming in. I'm just like, ha!
Yeah, that's it.
Just like
He is
literally.
just kind of a dick. Like,
I'm
Monokuma.
going to make an edit of like Monokuma with like the pointing finger that's just horny. I'm gonna post that on Twitter.
Please do.
he
Please
does
do.
that multiple times.
I know.
He'll pop up and be like, I think you guys seem
Which is
horny right now.
Just
I
like,
would almost say is a clue that the mastermind is also immature,
teen
like a high
girl.
schooler.
yeah,
But which is
foreshadowing, I guess.
maybe foreshadowing, I guess. Monokuma is like I bet when they were like, okay, Saw is one of our inspirations. What did we like about Saw?
We
And
like
somebody was
the
like,
little
I
puppet.
loved Billy the puppet. I wish Billy the puppet did more. I wish Billy could do more.
Yeah.
Jigsaw's so serious all the time. Why can't Billy?
Why
say-
can't we have
why
a
can't
little
Billy?
puppet?
Why couldn't Billy have been like,
I just want to
haha, Donnie Wahlberg.
Horny.
Donnie Wahlberg has a boner.
The idea of someone getting a boner inside a saw trap is wild.
I feel like it's happened though. Like maybe
I
not like
mean,
on
not
screen,
on
but like
screen. Not
Somebody
in
in
the first 7 Saw movies, which we have watched.
I really hope somebody at the Saw Quotes Twitter needs to make something about like it's like one time somebody got a fear boner before I killed them, and that's when I learned you know it sticks with rigor mortis. If you die with a boner, it stays.
Okay.
Morticians talk about how they have to crack them to like.
Wait, is that actually
get
true?
'em
thank you,
down.
Greg. Thank you
That's
so
true.
much. Okay, I.
Wait,
You know what?
Episode over!
That's it. We're done. All right, I've been Guy from Ghosts on a Train. I was joined by Kai for.
I'm Kai from
Okay.
Chain of Being. Listen to Chain of Being. It's at Chain of Being on Twitter, and you can listen to it anywhere. And also, I do noise music, which is at Bandcamp, which is Dinas, Dinas, and you can follow me on Twitter at My Name Is Not Kai, and that's Kai with a C.
Oh,
Get it
God.
right.
Greg, where could we find you?
Yeah, well,
Other than in my nightmares for giving.
as you know, I have been Carrobis Night Greggy. I just want to bring that back. Yeah, you can find me on my actual play podcast, Ghosts on a Train. We play Ghost Lines and RPG by John Harper. I run it, I edit it. I just like to have fun and do shit. I have been in audio dramas. Midsummer's Quarantine had its anniversary just this past
Today.
day.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
Lysander in it.
Sure were.
That's great. I think I did all right. Super Suits, that lawyer show that Hannah wrote. I'm gonna be a couple voices in it. Nobody too big, but like I'm in it.
You got a whole episode.
I get one whole episode. That's nice. And yeah, you can find me at Ghost_Train for Ghost on a Train, or at Gerg Candlestick, because my name is actually Greg Carrobis. It's not Carrobo Nigreggy.
You
It's a
shouldn't
good
have
fun
broken
night.
You shouldn't have broken it. You should have kept it going.
Hannah, where can we find you?
I am also on Ghosts on a Train. I'm one of the players. I'm not in anything else. I just write. And I am also on Twitter at I'm Tired81, a handle that I wrote for myself, probably around the time I first watched Danganronpa. I'm 100% serious about this. Anyone can message me to talk about Danganronpa on Twitter. I could talk about Danganronpa for
You
so
heard it here.
long. So long.
Hannah, you should make a Twitter space.
I mean, this has been
I'm
like
not
2
gonna
hours.
make a Twitter space, but seriously, I am always around to talk about Danganronpa, or Saw, or Riverdale, or frankly, a lot of things. But it's a lot to
Like
get
Legends.
into.
Or Fast and Furious.
Or Fast and Furious.
Mostly
yes.
Legends, though, I think. more
Legends
than-
of Tomorrow is great, and it got canceled too soon.
Which is wild, because didn't it have like 8 seasons?
Yes, and it should have had more.
Amazing.
Legends is
I-
actually good.
I
That's
might
not one
actually-
of the things that I'm obsessed with because it's bad. Legends is perfect television.
Oh, okay. I was gonna pick your brain about Legends because I saw an episode on television.
Let me
once.
end this episode. God damn it. Fuck.
Okay.
I'm Guy. You can find me also on Ghosts on a Train. You can send a message to the Faustian Nonsense if you want to get in contact with this space. Next episode, I was actually keeping it a surprise because it wasn't on the list, is Mirror's Edge with a guess.
Yo, I'm so excited to hear that one.
Yeah.
I had one experience of playing Mirror's Edge and I bounced off it and I
It's
played
such a
it
good
again
game.
and it was pretty alright.
It's
I
gonna be
had a
fun.
good time.
It's not gonna be the next one that you guys as the audience hear because I have a shitload of stuff to edit. But you know, it'll it'll
the
be
next
next
one we
for us.
play.
It'll be the next one we play. It'll be fun. Yeah, we have been the Disc Space Cadets, and we are ejecting.
Oh
Bye.
no,
Bye.
we're ejecting like the rocket guy in the beginning
Oh,
of Danganronpa.
no.
Oh!
It was actually Kyoko's It was literally the pump the whole time.
Okay.
All right, I'm stopping. We're done.